सगळे आमचे CCR TV पळयणाऱ्यांक माय मोगाचो येवकार. आनीक एक एपिसोड तुमचे मुखार आमी हाडटाव. इज पॉलिटिक्स ए नोबल प्रोफेशन. 14 फेब्रुवारी ही तारीख लागीं पावलेली आहा आनी सगळ्यांची तयारी सारकें म्हाका दिसता टॉप गियरान पावलेली आहा. तर आमचे बरोबर आयज आसा आदलो इंडिपेंडंट आमदार पोरवोरींचो. And first time that an independent MLA was re-elected, he created a history. Basically, he's a politician, also a philanthropist, is from the background of electronics engineer, and has continued with his family business, and he has his own group, Shiv Samartha Group. Earlier, he was the minister in Parikar's tenure when he was the chief minister. He was the revenue minister, and he launched a lot of innovative programs when he was the minister in IT, revenue, labor and employment, planning and statistics and evaluation in the cabinet of later Parikar. Subsequently, he had to give up and continued to raise his voice as an independent in the Vidhan Sabha in Porvorim. On behalf of CCR TV, we welcome Rohan Khaunte. My Magacha Yokar Baba Rohan.
Thank you.
Rohan Bab, you have been the first independent MLA to be re-elected in Goa. I am sure you know why you have been re-elected. Could you share with us what exactly?
Aldona constituency was delimited. And in 2012, आम्ही पोरवरची नवी कॉन्स्टिट्युएन्सी तयार झाली. Having lot of friends and family members in Porvorim, knowing their problems, we came in and tried to understand what we can do. एक कळ्ळें की जबाबदारी घेवपी कोण तरी जाय आनी खुबशीं कामां आसा. And we have started our journey somewhere in 2008, 2009, doing a lot of social work, understanding people's problems and getting them together. लोकांक एक कडेन हाडून काम करपाची संवय आमी सुरवात केल्ली 2008-2009. 2012, people have kept faith and we came in as independent. From there, our journey started. 2012 to 17, we have been independent MLAs and raising up issues of Goa at large and Porvorim also of our constituency, which needed a lot of support. I got that support from Manohar Parrikar after fighting in the assembly and from outside in terms of infrastructure. 2017, again, I went as an independent based on my people's thought processes ki independent what's म्हणून. Again we got the mandate from the people. आता all these things, the whole strength of mine is my people. So I always
And
say
your work that you have done.
no, it's the work is what they have told me to do. तांकां कितें काम जाय तें हांवें करून दिलां. म्हजे रोल एज अ लेजिस्लेटर आय हॅव परफॉर्मड. बट आज समज हांव इंडिपेंडंट म्हणून दोनदा निवडून आयलां जाल्यार इट इज ओनली बिकॉज ऑफ माय पीपल हू हॅव स्टूड स्ट्रॉंग in good and bad times, and I always say that they have been the main pillars of my strength, my backbone.
Yeah. And when you were the minister, especially in IT and revenue, labor and employment, you introduced a lot of reforms. Could you share those reforms?
Goa is going through a very serious thought in terms of economy. Conventionally, आम्ही फक्त depend आसा miningaचेर, depend आसा tourismaचेर. We have understood that when mining stopped, a lot of economy drop was there. GDP आमची आशिल्ली, which we were mining, we were depending on, suddenly dropped. Then again, when we talk about tourism, COVID showed us that this is inconsistent. Along with Manohar Parrikar, when he entrusted the portfolio of IT, revenue, labor and employment, there were three broader thoughts which we had. One is to cater to the requirement of unemployment. Unemployment in Goa can be handled and tackled because we are a small state. What we needed to do is create a industry or an industrial scenario which is non-polluting, which is there for Goa, which is there for Goans, stop the brain drain, and we also ensure that the job giver and job seeker, तांचो we reduce this gap. So industry निडा प्रमाणे भुरग्याक तयार करचो ही येवजण घेवन making Goa knowledge hub was the whole vision which Manohar Parrikar carried and which I carried, and a dream for me to make it through. So 2.5 years of my tenure I have spent in what Goa missed for last 25 years. IT पॉलिसी काढली, स्टार्टअप पॉलिसी काढली. फक्त पॉलिसीचेर रावले ना आमी. इम्प्लिमेंट करून स्कीम्स काढून भुरग्यांक स्टार्टअपाचेर आयटीचेर बॅकबोन तयार केलो, स्टार्ट केलें. वी गेव देम एक्सपोजर टू द वर्ल्ड because I believe strongly that Goa can be one of the topmost destination for startups in the world. Secondly, we have that infrastructure. Secondly, in terms of revenue, बारीक समाजाचे मनीस जावं बारीक लोक जावं तांची कळ आसता रेव्हेन्यू डिपार्टमेंटा कडेन. They are not able to get what they want, and that is why तांची चपलां झरता पूण कामां जायना was always the charge which they had. We have used technology. We have ensured platforms are there for them to get all their certification process where तलाटी कडेन धांवताले, मामलादारा कडेन धांवताले, तें बंद करपाक टेक्नॉलॉजी घेतली. सिम्प्लिफिकेशन ऑफ प्रोसिजर्स केले, रायट टू टायम बाउंड डिलिव्हरीज हाडली, रिफॉर्म्स हाडले फ्रॉम मुनकारी, टेनंट, पार्टिशन सगळें यूज करपाक. सो ऑल इन ऑल वी गॉट इन अ प्लेस वेर वी कुड गेट रेव्हेन्यू डिपार्टमेंट इन प्लेस.
And you introduced also single window.
Single window.
Yeah.
The citizen service center plus a e-district model on the e-platform were things which we gave a single window. We wanted to make it hassle free and allegations of corruption bakiche had to come out. This is what we introduced. भुरग्यांक खातीर unemployment जावं, career counseling जावं, guidance जावं, we came up with model career center. So all thought process was very clear that the youth, the common man, the people who are looking for job opportunities are not able to get but are migrating should be given job opportunities in the state. Overall ecosystem आम्ही तयार करताले. I think given a term of 5 years with Manohar Parrikar there and along with him to work with the liberty he had given me in terms of getting these things milestones achieved, I think 2.5 year journey has spoken a lot about what we could do, what was not there for last 25-30 years.
Yeah, you did excellent work, let us say, when Parrikar was there. Subsequently, after his death and when CM Pramod Sawant took it over, you were no longer part of the government. And I think people missed you.
History, Goa has always been known for making history. It was the first time that a National Congress party is supposedly merged with another national party. Parties with two different thoughts, MLAs who were there came on the other side. They jumped into the BJP and the whole process of thinking changed as far as Goa was concerned. That time maybe the government thought that to have a full mandate was better than to have a coalition. And then 2.5 year journey we have seen how the government tried to bulldoze on a lot of issues which I have been myself vociferous about, which I have taken up myself, and I know that whether it was Goa or Porvorim we have felt a pinch because आमकां सगळ्या प्रोजेक्टांक इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चरांक बंद जाले. No support was given and everything came to a stall. As far as aspirations of our youth or other things in terms of jobs, employment सगळे बंद झाले. आम्ही जे विचार 5 वर्सांक घेतिल्ले which we thought was Manohar Parrikar's legacy, that came to a halt. I did personally, it is not me, but Goa suffered because we could have taken Goa to the next level in the 5 years given an opportunity, especially in the departments I held. So ज्या तरेन 27 जावन करून सरकाराचे करपाचे आशिल्ले, maybe the CM thought that is more wise of a decision. Time has proven that we lost 2.5 years for Goa.
Yeah, and subsequently now you have joined BJP. What is the reason?
We have to understand how the dynamics of politics is working. Goa is going through a very tough political phase. आता एक म्हणल्यार when it came to me joining BJP, there were a lot of people who said, I also come into the jumping list. I don't come into the jumping list. I have been elected as an independent MLA and that I respect the people's mandate. When we took a decision, when we came to take a decision, I first resigned from the post of a MLA and then we have spoken back to our people to take our further course of action. आता पॉलिटिक्स गोंयांत पयलीं कशी आशिल्ली, काँग्रेस आशिल्ली, BJP आशिल्ली, and we had regional parties. Congress today has failed. I can be on the record and say, because I have had conversations with them, I realized that one upmanship, एक मनीस decide करतलो party कित्याक जाय, and becomes bigger than the party, then the party loses its whole discipline and principles. At the center, we have to understand that there is no opposition left there because it is decimated. In the state level also, we have the same thing. Single persons have become bigger than the party. There are people who are lobbying today to become kingmakers within the party. No party can work in that particular manner. Congress had the opportunity to become the main pillar and attract everybody together. And I had spoken to them, okay, united opposition is the call of the day which needs to be there. I had a call, I had a shout out to all these people. Unfortunately, I had deaf ears, nobody was there to have a listening. Supposedly met all the tall leaders of every regional party and Congress, putting them the ideas how we have taken in the assembly. At the politically thinking, you have a party coming from Bengal, you have a party coming from Delhi. You have two different parties. Suddenly the thought process has come how to divide and how to cut through the Goans by using a card of minority, how to use on religious lines. Suddenly you have one fellow who suddenly sits in Old Goa for 4-5 days opposing a particular project आणि फीस झाले की तोय ना जाता. आता म्हाका सांग गोंयचो साहेब will he permit this type of things or will he allow? ताजे ब्लेसिंगान आज आमी फुडें पावल्या. म्हणजे बोडगेश्वराक घेवन आमी फुडें वता. वी टेक प्रेयर ब्लेसिंग्स फ्रॉम ऑल द गॉड आणि आमच्या गोंयच्या साहेबान इज प्रूवन थिंग्स दॅट गोंयकार सगळे एक कडेन दवरपाचें ताणें हातान घेतला. ही इज नेवर अलाउड सम थिंग्स टू हॅपन रॉंग. Why is politics played at this level when Goans have never wanted this? Goans want to know what you can deliver. So when I come back and start thinking, I have two parts in my political career. One is personal and one is political. If it is personal, I have a lot of scars in my heart which are there and which will take its own time to go away, because the last 2.5 years I have been the most vocal and vociferous against this government.
Yes, that is a fact.
म्हाकाय भितर उडयल्लो, म्हाकाय सगळें केलें. आता politically if you start thinking, when the center BJP starts talking to you and the state BJP, they start realizing that there have been issues which they need to react to. They have understood the problems of Goa and we need to put things together. आता एक कितें आसा, one is a opposition which could have come together is decimated. Second is people have aspirations from people like us as legislators to perform for the state, perform for your constituency. Selflessly I have performed for the last 10 years towards Goa and towards Porvorim. And I have kept that vow की सेल्फ इंटरेस्ट करीत ना. ते करता आसतना आज समज गोंयांक आमी गोंयकारांक डिलिव्हर करपा जाय. इफ आय हॅव नोन दॅट आय हॅव डिलिव्हर्ड ऑर पीपल ऑफ गोवा नो दॅट आय हॅव डिलिव्हर्ड ड्युरिंग माय स्टेंट एज मिनिस्टर. आय हॅड ऑल्सो बीन व्हेरी वोकल. Coming into a party does not stop Rohan Khaunte from talking or voicing.
You will still raise the issues.
After joining the party, also I have raised issues, whether it was Soza Lobo in Kalangut or any other issues. Goinkars are what we are. And if we are playing politics with Goans, it's a wrong thing. I will not personally allow it. So for my thought process, I could only look at the further 5 years where we need stability, we need performance to be seen, and we need like-mindedness to resolve the issues. Hawe issues जे घेतल्या त्यात म्हाका resolve करपा जाय जाल्यार either I stay in opposition and I keep shouting on it, or today we have a forum to come in and legislate and deliver what people want. And people have aspirations. People have aspirations from MLAs like us that we will legislate and give them. समज अडेच वर्सान करून दाखयला, 5 वर्सां समज मेळ्ळी, कशें करून दाखोवंक शकता, दॅट आय एम व्हेरी कॉन्फिडंट ऑफ. सो समज आमी ऑपोजिशनान रावन वेर इट इज इंडिविज्युअल पर्सन्स not wanting to be united and just be talking about it, I don't think Goa is going to go through a next phase, especially with parties like from Bengal and Delhi जे आयल्या. I always say आमगे ते येता आसतना तांचो टोन कितें आयलो की आमी खेळ जातलो. सो आय सेड खेळ जावंक दिवचे ना, कित्याक गोंयकार खेळणी न्ही आनी गोंयकारान खेळण्यांचें दुकान घालूं ना म्हणून. सो वी नीड टू अंडरस्टँड दॅट दे कांट कम एंड टेक गोवन्स फॉर ग्रांटेड. The other party comes and talks about how Samaj plays while deciding on the chief minister and the deputy chief minister. Where is Samaj coming in today? I think people are going much ahead, thinking the youth today want to know what you are going to do for them, how the government is going to do for them. The people of Goa want to know what is your vision document for Goa in the next 15-20 years. The parties who are coming as regional outfits, who want to use us as guinea pigs for their national vote share, cannot come here and play with Goans. तांचे समज थॉट आशिल्लो गोंयाक कितें करतले, गोंयकारांक कितें करतले, वी कुड थिंक somebody comes with a card of 20 lakhs of rupees, you can swipe and take 20 lakhs. Somebody comes and says Graha Lakshmi is 5,000. Implemented in your state, you can walk the talk. You have not done anything in your own state. Your state, people from your state are migrating into our state because you have no opportunities there. How can you talk about promising things here? So I think we are at a crux of a time in politics where we have to start thinking what is right for Goa. And today, if I look at my political thought to give stability and to deliver on what I have voiced and what I need to deliver, the platform is what I have taken up.
With this proliferation of these parties which have come, the space is now available only for BJP.
It's a very clear thing that BJP is forming the government now. With a 35% share, which they have been keeping together. They have won their elections in ZP, they have won the elections in municipalities, and today also, because of the Congress not able to build up a joint alliance, which could have been their forte in terms of getting things together, The split is very clearly seen that it is the mandate for the BJP to form the next government. We have a role to play. I have a role to play. There are expectations, and I'm pretty sure aspirations of Goans will be there to what we will fulfill.
Yeah, with all this, corruption, I think, is the main plank where everyone is talking. And they said that it was Parrikar who, in the opposition, who pinned down the Congress at that time. And as the leader of the opposition, I think he shook the then government. But unfortunately, people say that corruption has increased during the last tenure of the BJP.
I will agree that last 2.5 years has been a thought process for Goans. That was exactly why Manohar Parrikar and myself were talking about ensuring e-platforms. I mean, e-technology कित्याक हाडटाले? Citizen service centers कित्याक घालताले? Why were we getting time-bound services? Why were we talking simplification of procedures? Why were we making things easy for the industry? Why were we stopping the interaction of people with the government officials through such type of citizen service centers? Answer is very clear. We wanted to stop this harassment which was happening in terms of the corrupt practices that has been there, that is there. Recent times there have been allegations on the job scams.
Yeah, you raised a very pertinent issue, and you are quite vocal, and people were surprised.
No, I'm vocal today also.
Okay.
It is not accepted. कित्याक आता खंयचोय आवय बापूय आपल्या भुरग्याक शिकोवपाक लोन काडटा, बाकीचे कोणाकडे वचून कितें करता to see that the child gets the best of education. When he applies for a job, meritorious समज students आमी दिना. I will put it this way. When it comes to jobs, when it is especially in the job sector, tomorrow it is a TA, a technical assistant or a JE, you are getting them through corrupt practices today. What do you expect the future Goa or future generations to get is my simple question. या हाजेर तुम्ही मार्क्स खंय एडजस्ट जाता कोणाक म्हणटा देर इज अ फॅमिली हू केम टू मी अ स्मॉल गर्ल हू वॉज लुकिंग इन डिप्रेस मोड अशें कितें जालां शी हॅड एप्लायड शी डीड नॉट गेट सो आय वॉज ट्रायंग टू कॉन्सोल इज नो नो क्वेश्चन इज नॉट ऑफ गेटिंग द जॉब शी हॅज बीन अ मेरिटियस स्टुडंट गेटिंग 80% प्लस इन ऑल हर करियर थ्रू आउट शी हॅज गॉट 48 and she says mama I should not get less than 85-90 and that has taken her in depression mode. It's a very serious thought for any Goan to think about. This is the correction that we need to do. कित्याक आज समज आमी करप्शनाच्या हातूंतल्यान जॉबांक घेवंक लागले ते भुरगे भितर येता तेच will not have any merit and that will spoil our future generation. म्हणजे आमची भुरगीं will not get anything what they deserve to get because the system will be in a very corrupted manner. And it is not only in the terms of jobs. There are so many other issues we need to plug. But given a mandate, you need a very clear thought process that corruption today is quite necessarily to be tapped in various forms as far as Goa is concerned. गोंयकार कितें जाता गोंयकार सादे काम जावपाक जाय म्हणून फुडें वतात आज भायले गोंया आयल्या they have introduced this thought process कि Goans can be bought. I think this is somewhere people of Goa today have to start thinking when we take the journey of 2022 that these are some of the issues, whether it is the identity of Goa, identity of Goans, and the issues like this at large which need to be tackled. एक साधे उदाहरण सांगता आता एक थोडे पार्टीचे या रिजनल आउटफिट्साचे कॅन्डिडेट्स भोंवता यू स्टार्ट लुकिंग अराउंड एट देम प्रचार करपाक कोण लेटरां दिता तांचे मॅनिफेस्टो दिता यू लूक एट देम दे आर नॉट गोन्स they are brought out from Bengal or they are brought out from Delhi here because they themselves don't have any people here. So what are you starting here? You're starting a thought which has never been bought in Goa. And Goans mache amche susegad. They like to enjoy their quality of life. And that is exactly what we need to get up now and be sure saying that if we are in a government, we can see government happening, we can see a BJP government happening. If Manohar Parrikar could keep everybody together, I think it's a thought of faces which will come in the parties, which will make a difference in 2022.
Basically, it's a crisis of leadership, if you ask me, because when you talk of Parrikar, there has been no further leader than him now. Maybe you would take it over?
No, I'm not a politically ambitious person who came into politics. I came into politics because the system was such. तू आता जसे corruption म्हणला, we come from a very middle class background. And we have worked our way up in all the businesses that we have had.
But you are very, very strong businessman. The youngest entrepreneur award was given to you. Will you give a shift on your thought process to our youth?
Strangulation of ideas have made you come into politics. That is how it is when we talk about taking business and expanding it in Goa. If I was able to achieve and get a milestone of the youngest businessman, I was happy to be in the list of 16 all over the country to be the one of the best MLAs in the tenure of 2012-17, an award which has been given under T.N. Session and Dr. Mashelkar and the rest of them, the jury under them. So we have, these are personal milestones which give you a sort of recognition of the achievements you have done in your life. But our achievement end of the day should be getting and giving Goa to what Goa wants. आम्ही गोल्डन गोवा म्हणून तो स्टेटमेंट सगळे काढतात. गोल्डन गोवा खातीर कोणूच विचार करना. आता I can talk about a golden Porvorim because I have worked towards it. Last 10 years I have given Porvorim exactly what Porvorim needed. It was not a plan of 1-2 years. We have had a 20-year plan broken down into every 5 years. And every 5 years I have performed and given what people I had promised. Manifesto to माझं काढ नाही पाय. Every manifesto of 2012, 2017. I must be the only MLA which I keep telling that I have come back with my report card like how we could do in school to come and give it to my people, because that is the transparency and accountability I feel I have kept with my people, and this manifestos carried every idea that what my people wanted. So if you ask me a Porvorim of 10-12 years back and a Porvorim of today, don't ask me, ask my people in Porvorim. They will talk about the difference. Although there is still a journey to go, there are still things to be achieved, there are things I still feel can be done better. And we need to cater to every requirement, whether it is a youth, senior citizen, women. We can't just talk about women empowerment at large. Upper Paitala, one of these national parties which have put up, ekut women candidate. When they talk about women empowerment, I think Congress party has come up with only one candidate who is a lady. So then we are talking about things which people need to pull across and ensure that they are able to deliver. I think this 2022 political scenario, which will definitely give a mandate for the BJP, which ourselves, we have a role to play to ensure that the voice of Goans is heard and we are able to do what Manohar Parrikar had thought about and what we wanted to give Goa. I think that process needs to continue.
You had introduced smart cards when you were in charge of the labor and employment. How far has it proceeded, and what is your idea on the same?
Whenever I used to go to this labor and employment department, there were huge queues of people standing to register themselves for employment opportunities. So माझा सदांच प्रश्न पडटालो भुरग्यांक इतले टेक्नॉलॉजी फुडें पावन कित्याक जाय. Job fair असले जाल्यार they used to take thousands of copies of their resumes and go to every window trying to give that. Smart card actually takes care of this type of things which I had introduced. Getting them on a e-platform, online they could put their Garatlan, they could apply and be a part of the employment exchange to look out for jobs. We created the job portal along and tied it with NCS at the center. So they have opportunities created which they can look all around and apply. हांगाच्यान तांकां MCCक तांकां लिंक केलें, मॉडल कॅरियर सेंटर. सो कितें जाता, एक भुरगो एक खंयचे तरी ग्रॅज्युएट जाता, ही लुक्स एट दॅट वर्टिकल ओनली. मे बी अकाउंट जाल्यार अकाउंट्साकूच पळयता. ही मे बी अ ग्रेट सेल्समॅन, he may be a great marketing guy. So that we needed to do career counseling, guidance, which I have done with the Model Career Center. So we had created this ecosystem. So फाल्यां तो job fairak सुद्धा गेलो. He did not take a resume. We had taken those readers. So he just taps his card and his whole biodata gets into the system of that company where he goes for a job interview. Reducing hassles for the youth is very important. Ensuring that he gets a hassle-free thought process in his journey is very important, and the frustration on the youth has to come down. Unemployment, Montagar, it is a universal scenario. But Goa, I am very confident that if we were given 5 years, whether it was the IT sector or any other sectors, we could have touched about 35 to 40% of unemployment in the first 5 years, which is quite a substantial figure to handle as far as Goa is concerned.
But do you think that our youth needs also a different module of education, technical skills and allied services like?
We were getting through this type of labor and employment initiatives, getting companies like pharmaceuticals and rest, and a hotel industry. We had already started the skilling process of skilling the people, taking them as apprentices, the unemployed youth, and training them as per industry needs and recruiting them. Over a time, the system would have formed. So, आता सुद्धा आम्ही जेन्ना फुडें पळयता, skilling areas, education, base education, creating further thought process. Industry 4.0 in IT has a huge and wide scope. People of Goa are the most talented. To music गे, technology गे, सगळ्याकडे गे. Unfortunately, there are no platforms. We need to create these platforms.
Especially IT. Lot of our Goans go to Bangalore and the other, and there they get much bigger and better salaries than in Goa.
Absolutely, I agree with you. That's because Goa did not have this particular ecosystem in place. We have created that ecosystem. Unfortunately, last 2.5 years that thing couldn't escalate, and people in the industry, I wouldn't say are missing the bus, but they have lost that opportunity which we have created. We have already got some companies down which pay high salaries. Sons of the soils who are CEOs of companies internationally are also wanting to do something for Goa. आमचो गोवन डायस्पोरा आसा पळय, ऑल दे हॅव गॉन आउट बिकॉज दे हॅव नॉट गॉट अ ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी. तो शिपार आसूं, तो IT टेक्निकल खंय आसूं न्ही, that love for Goa is very much for them wherever they are settled, whether it might be any part of the world. Given an opportunity, they would want to be back in Goa with their families. Maybe not that salary, lesser salary they are here.
Yeah, they wouldn't mind.
They wouldn't mind. पूण आमी आज पर्यंत इकोसिस्टम तयार करपाक प्रोसेस दिलोच ना चान्स. सो आय डोंट वॉन्ट टू ब्लेम एनीबडी. इट्स अ ऑपॉर्च्युनिटी टुडे. सेंटरान समज BJP आसा, वी नीड टू पुट आवर प्रायोरिटीज रायट. इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर कॅनॉट बी द ओनली मंत्रा की इन्फ्रास्ट्रक्चर हाडले, रस्ते केले, वायडनिंग केले, फ्लायओवर केले, सो वी हॅव सोल्युशन्स. We need to take the help of the center in making Goa a knowledge hub. We need to take the help of the center in creating new ecosystems for everybody, from the youth to this, and for Goa with a population of 15 lakhs, which is like one of the districts of a bigger state. Yes. This can be a pilot state for the center to create it and create an example how a model state can be. So I am sure that if ideas taken up can be implemented on the right forum and we are given an opportunity, I think lot of things will be there. हातून कितें जाता, पॉलिटिक्स आयली, रिलीजन, कास्ट, क्रीड सगळें येवंक लागता. 5 वर्सां आमी सगळे बरोबर असतात. ते लास्ट 3 म्हयने these things come in. So my question always goes out because I am not a politician by head. I'm a politician who came in the system with a different thought. So हांव सदांच चिंत्ता, 1 म्हयनो आसतना there are differentiations, कोण कसलो मनीस, background कितें. What happens to that faith and trust factor? What that man has delivered in the last 10 years or 9 years or 9.5 years? I'm not talking about somebody else. I'm talking about myself. Today, I'm very confident in Poron with only one thing, because people across communities have kept faith in Rohan Khaunte. They are not looking at any party or nothing. They say, Rohan, you must have taken a decision in the long thought. What I have shared with you on this forum, I have shared with a lot of people who asked me these questions, ki why BJP? So we need to understand practically की एक वाटेन सेंटिमेंट्स आसता, एक वाटेन डिलिव्हरीज जावपाक जाय. डिलिव्हरीज जावपाक जाय जाल्यार you need to be practically clear on how you want to go ahead politically. And that is exactly the step we have taken.
Of late, there has been little bit or not so much happiness with the minorities, especially in Karnataka with the anti-conversion laws and things like that. And Goa has always been a very peaceful. What is your message for the minorities?
I would only say that when political scenarios come in the last 1 month, Goans shouldn't start thinking differently. Ami Goinkar, irrespective of religion, caste, creed, are together, have been together and will be together. From 61 to now, 1961 to now, never has been an opportunity, whoever has been the chief minister or whichever party has taken over, that we came and fought on certain grounds. हांव क्रिसमसाकूय वता, मागीर दिवाळेकूय येता, आमी बिरयानी बरोबर खाता ईदाक. सो दॅट कल्चर इज व्हेरी डिफरंट अँड डॉमिनंट इन द स्टेट, वीच वी नीड टू प्रिजर्व. वी कॅनॉट क्रिएट वॉइड्स or breaks or cracks in the system by giving some self thoughts. Now importantly is the faces which matter. If they have faith in Rohan Khaunte, in whichever party he is, there are many faces like this in the political scenario or apolitically who are there, who feel Goa is quite close to their heart and they want to conserve this. We need to give the same message to the youth. Insecurity केन्ना येता? Insecurity येता जेन्ना कोण तरी insecurity तयार करता. Insecurity Karnataka आसा काय मया आसा. Why is it happening when a party from Bengal and when a party from Delhi comes? What happened that when you went for a demolition of a structure in Old Goa, that one of these parties put one person there who was there sitting on a fast. म्हणजे तू गोयच्या साहेबा बरोबर खेळटलो आणि मागीर तू सडनली अनाउन्स जातलो कॅन्डिडेट म्हणून आणि फेस्ट जाले की नाच जाता. सी यू नीड टू अंडरस्टँड वॉट इज बींग प्लेड. अ कॉमन मॅन विल फील सिम्पॅथेटीक, कोणे तरी रावलो केलो म्हणून. लॉजिकली वी नीड टू अंडरस्टँड इफ दॅट इलिगल स्ट्रक्चर नीड्स टू गो, इट नीड्स टू गो. वी नीड टू हँडल इट इन अ प्रॉपर मॅनर. थंय गेलो जाल्यार पीपल विथ सेंटिमेंट्स वील टॉक अँड वी आर विथ देम.
But people understood the tricks.
No, these tricks are creating this insecurity. These tricks are, we don't know what is happening in Bengal. I read in the papers that Bengal and Haka Mallo, Taka Mallo, somebody was raped, somebody was brutal. I wouldn't comment unless I know what has actually happened in Bengal. What has happened in Karnataka, I wouldn't want to vouch for till the time it is. But social media has been a tool where messages go rampantly outside and people start thinking differently. I can only give one message to our people, that as long as people like us are there, irrespective of party, कोण खंयच्या रिजनल पार्टीन आसा काय कोण खंयच्या नॅशनल पार्टीन आसा, कोणूय आसूं नी, the faces who have talked for Goa, faces who have been for Goa, will be there for Goa to take care of our people, irrespectively political or अpolitical. Divide केन्नाच येवपाक दिवपाचें ना, आनी तें न करपाक कितें करपा जाय, that we do not have cracks in us. I think I'll be the first guy to stand across. पयर सोजालो बोक जेन्ना हातलेलो, Kalangut, I was in the BJP government. If I was in the opposition, I would have voiced it. Unfortunately, local political person who was in the government and did not voice any opinion. I was the person who went head on, asked the chief minister for intervention, got the guys booked and ensured they were in. They are supposed to be some dons who have developed themselves in the system. Good for them, but outsiders येतले आनी आमच्या गोंयकारां कडेन खेळटले is not acceptable. Nobody went on a religious or this time. This is a time when we need to have our identity right. So I think गोंयची आयडेंटिटी रायट जातली जाल्यार जबाबदारी सगळ्या गोंयकारांक घेवची पडटली, irrespective whether he is a Catholic, whether he is a Muslim, whether he is a Hindu or Hindu भितर खंयचोय समाज आसूं नी. We need to be clear that Goans are united, cannot be divided.
The temperature is rising, the day is coming very close, and we wish you all the best and good luck.
I think that 14th of Feb will speak a lot. It's a day of love. It's a Valentine's Day.
Yes,
so I think all Goans will share their part of love and ensure that we are together and show that togetherness.
Dev Varan Karum Babu, Rohan.
Thank you.